Welcome to Whispering Maples. I'm going to go ahead and do a garden tour of section 2 of my garden. It is late June and just want to try to get everything on video. And we will start off with First Ghost. And First Ghost always seems to have some pretty good variegation. There's a few leaves that are a little bit crispy, but for the most part, this is holding up pretty good in the sun. I'm actually in section or zone 7B, North Georgia, and so it does get kind of hot and humid. Next, I've got Rainbow, and you can see all the new growth looking really good. And please comment if you are familiar with Rainbow. Would love some advice. I've got down here, I've got some variegation on some leaves, but up here it's just green. And what do you recommend? Should I leave the green or should I prune it off? Looking forward to comments. This right here is Seki no Kagon. And this one doesn't really do a whole lot for me yet. I mean, it's got some nice leaves. The leaves are a little bit smaller. Got a little bit of color over here, but for the most part, just been okay so far for me. All right, this one right here is Saint Francisco Marto, and you can see this one's got a lot of new growth, and the color on the new growth is pretty sweet. You can see. And I really like all the trees in the Catholic series. Back here is Golden Globe, and this thing was putting on a show earlier. It is starting to burn up a little bit, especially on the yellow sections of these leaves. And I've got two of these. The other one is actually in more sun. This area is more like morning to mid afternoon sun, and then you get some shade. The other one was in full sun, and that one started really burning. I actually had to remove that and put that one in my recovery section, which I was surprised because from my research, this is supposed to be able to handle a good bit of sun. So, but still a very nice tree, and still fairly young too. And I noticed with a lot of Japanese maples, as they mature and get older, they seem to handle the sun a little bit better. All right, this right here is Moonrise. Got a few leaves of color, but for the most part, this thing is green. But I know from past experience, it's just a matter of time, and then this one will start putting on a show. All right, this right here is Radiant, and this is another one that's going to end up putting on a show a little bit later on the season. Gives you some really nice whites and pink variegation, kind of splotching type colors. You can see the new growth right there, and pretty much everything on this is new growth, but the lighter colors is a little bit newer. This one, maybe about 2 months ago, started losing all its leaves, so I ended up cutting the leaves off, and I heavily pruned this thing back. It was probably at least 1.5 to 2 feet taller, but it was struggling really bad, and I decided prune it back and it'll grow back. But Radiant's a great tree. All right, this one right here is Martha Ghost, and you can see all that new growth, all the red. Got some more right there, and then and it's really exploding up this way. But Martha Ghost is really nice. You can see some pretty cool looking leaves right there. And then the rest of it is green. Alright, and this is one that has really surprised me. This one is called Sliding Rock. And it's growing really nice. And this is one that I actually won this tree in the Mr. Maple Fantasy Football League. So when I got this, I didn't know anything about it, but it's been a great tree and I really am enjoying it. Alright, this right here is Atlanta Melody. And this is a really nice tree because it, as you can see, it gives you that yellow splotching highlights. But you can see it's burning up a little bit. I'm hoping this is one of those trees, as I mentioned, that as it matures, becomes a little bit more sun tolerant. And but yeah, just a really nice tree. All right, this one is Dark Knight. Once again, you can see the red, all new growth. Back here is Dixie Delight. And this is a really nice coral bark. You can see right there. It's still giving you some nice colors in the bark. This one is Hupp's Dwarf, and I'm really liking this one. I think the leaves are really nice, and the shape of this one I actually really like quite a bit. But you can see some of that new growth and nice colors. And yeah, Hupp's Dwarf is just a great tree. Behind it is Adrian's Compact, and this one's starting to green up. This one's usually pretty dark maroon red. And I'm noticing on some of my leaves, they're cupping down. Still trying to determine, is it because it's getting too little water or too much water? I tend to try to water these pots every other day. Being in 7B North Georgia, it does get hot. You get the heat. But I think I just went about, I think last week I went like 4 days without watering, so that probably didn't help. But we were getting a good bit of rain. All right, this one right here is Incognito. And I'm very impressed with this tree. It's one I just passed on forever and saw it at the Mr. Maple open house and decided to go ahead and grab it, and I'm glad I did. All right, this one right here is Grandma Ghost. And it's not doing a whole lot, but it's at least giving me a little bit difference in colors compared to before. I know some people really love Grandma Ghost. It's probably my least favorite of the Ghost series, just being honest. But who knows? That may change later on. This is Firefall, and this has held its color pretty good all season. It's starting to green up a little bit, but it's still giving me some nice colors. All right, this one right here is Sawa Shidari, and it's really not doing a whole lot. All right, this one right here is Peve Stanley. I've actually really liked this tree. It's starting to green up as well, but you can still see some really nice colors. And it's handling the sun great. I'm not seeing any burn on this tree. And behind that is Hihachijo, and this is one that wasn't doing a whole lot, but now I am starting to see what Hihachijo does. You can see some of the highlights it's starting to give on those leaves. And this one will get even more variegated. But this is a tree that I was wanting for a while, so I'm excited to see it starting to give me some different colors. All right, this right here is Orion. And Orion's such a good tree. It's greened up quite a bit, but you can see the new growth. Right here is a Vix Broom, and this one will give you pink flushing on the new growth. Some of these, like this one, you can see the pink really good just about a week and a half ago. I just waited too long to do some videos. I just was so busy doing stuff in the yard. And this one is Seasons of Change, and I'm really impressed with this one. You can just see the colors on the leaves and the tips. Got a little bit of burn, but not too bad. All right, this one right here is Kinshi. And I was surprised to see this coming off that tree. At first I thought it was maybe coming from the tree next to it, but no, that's part of Kinshi. But otherwise doing really well. And this right here is a Tommy Zakura, and that's where I thought that new flush was coming from. But this one, in the spring is like bright red, and then you'll see the new growth gets really bright, and this was pretty red as well just a few weeks ago. But it's greened up and not doing a whole lot outside of the new growth. This right here is Manu no Sato. And I'm pretty excited about this one just because I thought this one was dead. I had it back in the recovery area for about 2 years, and you can see how small it is. So you can see I didn't have a whole lot to work with, but it's rebounded and it's doing really well. Okay, right here is Miss Maple, and Miss Maple is amazing. And just look at some of the colors you get on this thing. Down here is just a Mikawa Yatsubusa seedling. See a little bit of new growth, but primarily just green at this point. This one is Troll's Foot, and this is actually a really cool tree if you don't have it. The leaves are just so unique. Nothing looks like it as far as I can tell. And you can see the new growth right there, and it's gotten quite a bit of new growth as well over here. And then behind it is Gable's Glory, and this thing is amazing. You can see the bright red, you can see the maroon, you got yellow, you got green. It's burning up a little bit here, but not too bad. Just see how nice that is. And this is another one that I'm hoping Once it gets more established, it'll do better in the heat. All right, let me go over here. Start right here. This is Sir Happy, Not So Happy. It lost its leaves, but it's not dead. I cut it back just a little bit. So we'll see what it does. I did give it some Miracle-Gro, so let's see what it does. This right here is Bloody Talons. And I usually keep this in the screened porch, but I did pull out here. I've got it underneath the umbrella, so protecting it as much as possible. And here's my old Bloody Talons that died, and I should just chuck it, but I'm just like, because it's Bloody Talons, I don't want to chuck it. I'll probably just give it a couple months, just see if some miracle happens and you start seeing some growth on it, but fairly confident that thing is dead. I guess the best way I can kind of explain it is kind of like when you can't find your car keys and you look in the refrigerator for it. You know it's not in the refrigerator, but you just don't want to give up on finding those keys. All right, this one right here is St. Michael the Archangel, and this one is probably my favorite so far of the Catholic series. I do not have Holy Sister Lucia, and that one probably would be my favorite. I'm hoping I can get one at the next Mr. Maple open house, but we shall see. But you can see this thing's got some really nice, cool looking leaves. But just a great tree. Right here is Green Twinkle. And you can see the new growth. And this is a pretty cool tree. This is another one where never really thought about the tree, but I saw it at the open house and really liked it, so I went ahead and grabbed it. I'm glad I did. Behind it, I've got Strawberry Spring, and this has actually been one of my favorite trees this year. It's just been putting on a show nonstop. Getting a little bit of burn, not too bad, but it's just got such a unique shape of the leaves. And just great variegation, great color, great shape. There's nothing I don't like about this tree right there. This right here is Firefly. And if you've got Firefly, you know it'll just start giving these amazing looking leaves out of nowhere. And even the ones that are older, you still see some cool leaves mixed in without. And I've said this before, I call this like my holy crap tree. And the reason I do that is it's not doing a whole lot, and then you go somewhere for a few days, you come back and you see the tree and you say, holy crap, because you can't believe what it's doing now. All right, this right here is Columba. Back here is Tashi. And this is a really cool tree. I've got two. The other one's in a little bit more sun, giving me some reds. But you can see just a nice looking leaf. And so far it's handling as much sun as I'm giving it, which, like I said, is giving me sun till probably mid-afternoon. This is Shigeno Hoshi. You can see all the new growth. And this thing will put on a show and give you some really cool variegation. It's just really starting to give it to me. But I just know from last year how great this tree looked. All right, behind it is St. Bernadette, another one from the Catholic series. And this one is Sister Ghost. And I've always been a really big fan of Sister Ghost. I think it's very consistent with the variegation. It's got great shape, really nice colors. And it handles the sun pretty good. I'm getting a little bit of burn, but not too bad. All right, this one is Stella Rosa, and I've actually been really impressed with this one. Kind of back here in the corner, so probably not getting the best pictures, but you'll see it's got some really cool tones in the color, and I like the shape of the leaves. All right, this one right here is Festival, and this one's supposed to give you amazing fall color. I don't recall it having great fall color last year, but we'll see what it does this year. But the leaves are looking good. And then behind it, I got Goshiki Shidari. And this one's been pretty consistent this year with the variegation. I've got several of these, and they're all looking really good. And I believe this one's probably a little bit more stable than Toyomanishiki, but if you know otherwise, please comment and let me know. All right, this one is Nathan. And this one was putting on some amazing colors earlier, but same thing, starting to green up, which, you know, does happen come summertime with a lot of the trees. Sorry about that. That's one of my dogs crying because he wants to go inside, but he ain't going inside until I'm done with my video. All right, behind it is Ever Autumn, and this one's got some big leaves and pretty cool shape. Doing really well. All right, back here is Peppy Multicolor, and this is another one that I've been underwhelmed with so far. I've got two of these and they've just been green, so but we'll give it more time and see what it does. This right here is Matthew. And it was giving me some yellows earlier, but another one that's kind of greened up. This is a Katsura. I got a really big Katsura in the back, but wanted to get another one. Now I know why he was crying. My daughter just got home, so he saw her through the window. But you can see the new growth on this thing. And this is Villa Toronto. It's doing really well back here. All right, last tree in this area is Komanishiki, and this is an amazing tree. You can just see the variegation, and this one's very consistent throughout the tree. Sometimes you'll get some new growth, and that'll be green, but just give it time. It'll start turning and giving you that variegation there as well. But just a great tree. All right, let's go to this back area and then I'll call it a night. All right, this one's Emperor One. Can't really see it now because it's late at night. It's probably about 8:30, but when the sun is out, this thing is glowing. Very similar to Fire Glow, where you see the glowing through the leaves. And you can just see it is holding its color, and it does it. It is without doubt my favorite red upright. And I'll show you my Bloodgood in just a little bit, and you'll see Bloodgood does not hold the color near as good as Emperor One. Right here is Orangeola, also greened up, but great leaves. doing really well. This area is pretty much full sun. All right, right here is Abigail Rose. This right here is Pendular Bruns. And this thing's still small, but can't wait for this thing to grow. It's gonna look really good once it does. All right, right here is Shiraz. And Shiraz is just an amazing tree. Many people will tell you it's pretty much the same tree as Geisha Gone Wild. Yeah, I've got both of them, but this is a much larger tree. I had this one for a while. But it's doing real well in the sun. You can see down below where it gets less sun, you'll see more green. But yeah, just an amazing tree. And you can see it's got a little bit of leaf burn, but not a whole lot. This right here is an umbrella pine called Explosion. And then right here is Burke's Red Variegated. And just, I mean, this thing puts on a show. I mean, look how bright that is. And I've got two of these, and they're both doing this. And like I said, I'm in section or zone 7B, North Georgia. And I can't say this enough because everyone says you cannot grow conifers in the South, and that is not true. I've got the garden to prove it. I've got lots of conifers, and they're all doing great. This one's Louis, and this one's growing really good. Right here is Twinkle Toes. All right, this one is White Peaches, and this is a great tree, but it's pretty much greened up right now in the summer. But it's just a matter of time before this one starts putting on a show. I've got a whipcord right there, little one, but it's growing. And then right here is Acer Grissom Paperbark Maple, and you can see it's starting to get the peeling of the cinnamon paper bark, and it looks really good. And the leaves right now are just green, but I can tell you from past experience, this thing's gonna put on a show. Great fall colors. All right, right here is Jedala Orange. And this is another one that has greened up quite a bit. I did see some leaves still have a little bit of colors on the end, but for the most part, this thing is greened up. This one is Kenwith. This one right here is Mini Twist, and this one's doing really well. I thought this thing had died a couple years ago, but it's recovering and doing really well. Behind it is Summer Gold. And you can just see how well this tree does. And you'll get a little bit of burning, but not too bad. You know, once again, I think this is another tree where give it some time, it'll get more established and it won't burn as much. Right here is Cashmere. Green Penguin looking really, really good. This one right here is Oregon Sunset. I'll tell you, Mr. Maple's got some amazing I think they're either 6 gallons or 7 gallons right now. That look really, really good. I saw those at the last open house. Sangokaku, looking really good. At some point I'll have to prune this up a little bit, but it's doing good right now. This is a Blue Star Juniper. Alright, this is Bald Smith. And this thing is greened up also, but throughout the year, this thing's gonna give you some amazing colors. And this thing's growing a lot. This is getting pretty big. And won't forget about this. This is Anabi Shidari. And this one's holding its color pretty good. It's not as dark as it was, but if you compare it, you got Bald Smith, Anabi Shidari, Juddalo Orange, Waterfall, and Orangeola. And I think I did forget to show you this Waterfall. But yeah, Waterfall can take as much sun as you want to give it. It's a very durable tree. And then over here, and I'll show you a little bit, a little bit closer, but that's Red Dragon. That one's also holding color as well. Right here is Green Twist. And behind that is my Bloodgood. And as you can see, just looking at the leaves, this thing does not hold the color like Emperor One. All right, right here is Thunderhead. Got some lilies back here. And this right here is Marmalade. And this one is in full sun. It's getting a little bit of burning on the leaves, not too bad. But I mean, just look at some of those colors, just absolutely amazing. Got Makawa Yatsubusa right there. And this is the Red Dragon. And one thing I've noticed too is the leaves on this Red Dragon are much bigger than like the Anabi Shidari. But it's starting to grow pretty good, and it's for the most part is holding its color really well. And then last is Anne Irene. And you can see it's handling full sun really well. You may get, let's go up top a little bit. You may have a little bit of burning, but not too bad. And these are some Nandinas. I got them on both sides. Firepower. And what's nice is these are going to get bright red in the winter. So, but hope you liked the section 2 of my garden. And barely made it before it got too dark. So please like and subscribe, and put any comments if you want me to show you something different. You have an idea for a video, let me know. And hope you enjoyed the video.